Jake? Jake's my boy!
And that's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
The Nation of Jake on NewsTalk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
All right, welcome to it.
Yes, have some.
Here we go, Monday, December 19th, year of our Lord 2022, cloudy, 45 degrees, just 6 days before Christmas, and it's going to get colder, much colder as the Arctic blast is on the way. It's fast approaching. Wednesday into Thursday, it's going to be single digits. We'll get into that a little bit. What do you need to do? What is a people, plants, and pipes? Oh, those are the things that are pets. Pets, plants, and pipes, and I guess people. It's like the 4 Ps of the Arctic blast. We'll get into that momentarily. Plenty of news today from the world of Twitter. What else is new? That's all it is, man. You get on Twitter, and it's all about Twitter. It would be like listening to a radio show that's all about radio, or watching television programs that are all about television. It's become so self-reflexive, and I'm about over it. But Elon Musk could be stepping down as CEO as a result of one of these Twitter polls. He really believes in the Twitter poll. He put it up there, should he step down and appoint a CEO? And everybody said yes, or most people, 57%, I think, say yes, Elon Musk should step down. Maybe they're like me. They're just sick of Twitter being all about Twitter. So just let somebody else run the show, somebody a little more anonymous, or maybe this was just a bot trap, or maybe Elon Musk already has somebody in mind to appoint as the CEO of Twitter so that Elon Musk can get back to getting us to Mars, because I think that should be something he focuses on rather than Twitter. Also, we've got the Twitter files. Part 7 have dropped today. Have you lost interest in the Twitter files yet? Or are you still into this? Are you like, these are bombshells? The latest is not just how the FBI coerced Twitter into cracking down on certain accounts, but also how the FBI used their power of coercion to pretty much stamp out the whole Hunter Biden laptop, which they had for like a year. They covered it up for a year, and then when it got out on Twitter from the New York Post, they used every resource they had to discount it as disinformation, that it was a Russian hack, and none of that was true. So we'll get into that stuff coming up in a little bit. Also, I think I've found the most unnecessary invention. I'm not sure if it'll be available for Christmas. It would make a horrible gift. It's high dollar item that at first I didn't think it was real, but we'll get into this unnecessary invention, and I will introduce it to you coming up here in a few minutes. Also, I will give you my review of Black Adam. A little bit late. I mean, it opened up, a month or two ago? When did Black Adam come out? It was a few weeks ago, right, bud?
Yeah, I'll Google it really quick.
Everything goes to streaming so fast. I was not going to go see Black Adam in the theater, but I did see it on HBO Max. I will say this. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen, but it wasn't good. Also, hey, I want to get your reviews of Avatar Part 2. If you went to go see Avatar The Way of Water, I want to hear from you. 683-0989, 683-0989. I know Hunter was on his way Friday to go see it. I know a few other people who have seen it, but I want to know, was it any good? 683-0989. I'm not sure how it did at the box office just yet. Maybe we'll look up that as well. All right, we've got your local headlines. We've also got what is trending in the Twitterverse and non-Elon Musk topics. And we will play Name Drop coming up at about, when do we play Name Drop? 4? Yeah, 4:05 or so, at the top of hour 3. All right, we'll do that. So anything goes on this Monday. It's almost like a Friday. It's the week of Christmas. Nobody's doing anything this week or next. We're getting into the dead zone of the year. But everybody's talking about the weather. This is when the weather becomes the top story, when they start using terms like Arctic blast. Yeah, the Arctic blast is coming with Christmas this week. We've got single-digit temperatures on the way, maybe some snow. There's an Arctic blast, depending on where you read it. Some people call it the Arctic blast. Others call it the polar vortex. And then there are some reporting this as the bomb cyclone, which all of them sound like Gatorade flavors to me. We've got let's go with Arctic Blast for now. Bitterly cold and dry conditions are expected through the holiday weekend with lows in the single digits. You know it's for real when you get on your app, whether it's the Weather Bug or the Weather Channel app or just your native Apple weather, and you start seeing the low temperatures like 8. It's 8 degrees. It's 9 degrees. Maybe you get highs in the teens, but maybe highs in the 20s, which is also very cold, near freezing through at least Christmas Day. Clouds will increase as a weak disturbance draws moisture up from the south ahead of cold air arriving from the plains. Weather models indicate a wintry mix in Arkansas, but for the rest of the Mid-South, mainly light rain chances today and primarily to the south of here. Now, Wednesday will be the first day of winter, the official first day. I guess that's the winter solstice. And the weather gets really interesting on Thursday. It'll get dangerously cold with the arrival of Arctic air. Friday morning's low is forecast to reach the single digits with a 9-degree low. Some models show a wintry mix on Thursday and Friday, but others don't. They'll be tracking the timing of the cold air and how much moisture will be present. We got forecasters are warning of treacherous holiday travel and life-threatening cold for much of the nation. This is, if you look at the models, you see it. It blows right through pretty much the middle of the country. It's just this huge system that's coming through, and it could be like a record cold. We got the Arctic air mass will blow into the already frigid southern United States. You're looking at much below normal temperatures, record low temperatures leading up to the Christmas holiday. The rare and hazard Arctic air mass will likely bring extreme and prolonged freezing conditions for southern Mississippi and southeast Louisiana. So it could be even worse as far down south as the Gulf Coast. So that's it's not good. It's not good. But we have to establish a few things here. If it does snow, we cannot call it the Snowmageddon. We cannot call it snowpocalypse. Those terms are outdated. They're overused. So if you have any ideas to call this potential snow, like even if there is snow, I mean, they're saying it's mostly going to be dry conditions. So it's just going to be like a bitter cold, like that cold that you feel in your bones. So it's kind of like that kind of wind that whips through. You know, very, very cold, but not inescapable. When it's cold and wet, that's when things get real bad. You know, Bud the producer, you know, from growing up in the Chicagoland area, you know, when we talk about single-digit cold, you just kind of laugh because you're like, that's every day in the winter where you're from, correct?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and you've got the snow to contend with. I mean, shoveling snow was a part of your life most of your years, correct?
Yeah, growing up, yeah, I was that guy. But, I'll tell you this, one thing we didn't have is when that big ice storm we had where you come out in the morning and just everything is coated in ice. We didn't really have that as much. You get it a bit, but... Yeah,
snow is different, man. I mean, that's part of your reality when you're from a place like Chicago or Minnesota. I mean, did it ever snow so deep that when you, like, opened the door, it was all stacked up?
Oh, yeah, especially, like, if it was windy out. Because right below, like, in the Chicago area, we're right outside the lake. Like, we're within 30 miles of the lake. Anywhere in that space gets a lot of extra moisture dumped on them, so you get feet of snow.
All right, so when you get feet of snow, though, everybody's expected to go about their business. Like, there's nobody calling in saying, "Oh, I can't get out of my driveway," because you have to expect that kind of stuff where you're from up there.
There is a point where that might happen. For the schools, they would only close if it was so cold the buses wouldn't start.
Oh yeah, look, we close schools around here like if it's going to rain hard. So you would imagine that if it were to snow like during school, I guess the kids are out for Christmas break, so that's not really a big threat. But yeah, they closed the schools for anything down here. It was going to rain hard the other day, and they started shutting down the schools.
Well, I wouldn't expect you guys down here to have, or us guys down here to have the infrastructure for all that snow clearing. It would be a waste of resources to have.
Well, that is correct.
All those plows and stuff.
There's like 4 plows for the entire state, if you'll recall. I hope they do call that one Wanda Plowbert. That said, look, it's more about how cold it gets. A little later in the week, when we get closer to these single-digit temperatures, I'm going to invite my plumber buddy Evan on the program to talk about exactly what to do about your pipes. That's really the big thing, is making sure that your pipes don't freeze. And a lot of people just run the cold water, but it's really the hot lines, from what I understand, that are going to freeze first. Also, you cranking your heat, doing everything you can just to make sure you don't have a busted pipe or something like that, because that can be a mess. And around Christmas, the week of, trying to get a plumber out to your place, no good. And then if it snows, we still have to come up with a better term than snowmageddon or snowpocalypse. I've got a few ideas. If you've got any, 683-0989. I'm thinking instead of snowpocalypse, we go with Snow More Mr. Nice Guy. What do you think, bud? I think that'd be great on the news.
Yeah, why not? I'm into it.
Snow More Mr. Nice Guy. Or we can go with something like Snow Way to Treat a Lady. Yes, no?
Yeah, I'm with it. Why not?
All right, cool.
I get it.
Snow Way to Treat a Lady. How about this one? Here's a good one. Snowmosexual. Snowmosexual.
I like Snow Way to Treat a Lady better.
All right, how about Snow Time Like the Present?
Ooh, that's good.
That's that'll work. All right, it's enough of that ridiculous stuff. All right, but it's stock up on ingredients right now for all your milk sandwiches, because that's going to happen, man. Once they start mentioning snow, when we get closer to Thursday and Christmas, people are already, getting all their groceries together. So your milk sandwiches, your milk and bread, and then also, the big thing is, leaving pets outside, plants outside, people outside, they are all going to freeze to death. So if you value those things, don't leave them outside. We've already killed plants, and we already have with the overnight lows. The wandering Jew out on the back porch, it is dead. And I think that's very sad. Very sad. 683-0989, 683-0989. We'll get into some Christmas stuff, some gift ideas. I have probably the worst gift, an unnecessary invention. If there ever was an unnecessary invention, this is it. I think there's a guy online who does all unnecessary inventions, and not even he could come up with something this stupid. I'll tell you what this is next, right here in the Nation of Jake. All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Getting word. Has Elon Musk named a new CEO yet? I think there's a name that's floating around out there. We'll see. He put out a Twitter poll, I guess last night, yesterday sometime, asking the Twitter faithful if he should step down as CEO and appoint somebody else. And it appears after some 10 million plus votes, people said yes. I think they're sick of Twitter being all about Twitter. So we'll get into that coming up. Who should be the new CEO of Twitter? Do you have anybody in mind? Let's say he has not yet appointed a CEO to run the show for him that has Elon Musk. Who would be your pick as CEO of Twitter? Or do you think he should stay? Did you vote no in the poll? We'll get into that coming up here in a little bit. Also, your thoughts on the weather. And it's going to be cold. And look, man, now is the greatest time for winter weather clothing. And I'm just going to say we have a lot more waterproof material and warm material, like the compression shirts. Look, when I was a kid, I'm 44 years old. I just turned 44 last week, as you may know. We didn't have any of this stuff, man. Under Armour wasn't a thing. If you wanted to go outside in the snow and you lived in the South, you didn't have any rain boots or snow boots or snowshoes or anything like that. You had to wrap plastic bags around your feet. And then once your shoes got soaked through, your Converse, your All-Stars, they were spent. They were done. You had to put them in front of a space heater or something like that, or throw them in the dryer in a pillowcase, and then you had to wait. And by then, the snow's all melted, and it's disgusting. So, we can talk more about the weather in advance of this Arctic blast, this polar vortex, this bomb cyclone. And we can do that on the Rick's Powder Coating text line. I think I've got more suggestions to use instead of snowpocalypse or snowmageddon. Those are overused. I do like Snow Way to Treat a Lady. Bud, do we have any suggestions on the Rick's Powder Coating text line? I thought we did.
Let's see. There's no reason to overreact.
Got it. Yeah, the milk sandwich is the first thing that happens. You go to the grocery store, they're all out of milk, they're all out of bread. You're like, okay, what are you going to do with all that now? I mean, look, we don't even know if there's going to be snow. If it is, it's probably going to be a light snow. That said, we got to get closer to the single-digit temperatures and see what kind of moisture's in the air. All right, so Christmas just 6 days away. I'm way behind on my Christmas shopping. It's also birthday season in my house. My older daughter, my firstborn, she just turned 11 today. So I've been focused on getting her some good birthday gifts so she doesn't feel screwed over in the whole, well, your Christmas is so close to birthday, or your birthday is so close to Christmas. So I'm way behind on the Christmas shopping. My kids are pretty easy, though. I was looking through some gift ideas. This is probably the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't think this is available for Christmas, but you want to talk about unnecessary inventions? Have you heard the latest from Dyson, the overpriced vacuum cleaner company? You know, they got the Dyson Air Muscle and the Dyson Ball and the Dyson Stick. We have a couple of Dyson vacuums in the house because my wife is very bougie. And they're good machines. They're fine. They are fine vacuums. They suck. They really do. They suck because they're supposed to. It's a Dyson. You've come to trust the brand. But now I think they're getting a little bit too insane over there. Check this out. Dyson has announced the release of their air purifying headphones. That's right. Noise canceling headphones that purify the air. Here we go. Dyson has released additional details for its Dyson Zone air purifying headphones. This is the company's first audio product. The new webpage is dedicated to the unreleased headphones. Now, if you think I'm joking, I'm not. The head of Dyson, I guess, it's not Miles Dyson. That was the guy from Cyberdyne. They actually have a video on YouTube that outlines exactly what they're trying to do with air purifying headphones.
Is this for like hanging
How do you protect
drywall?
someone when they are commuting to work or going out? The idea of this machine was to overcome that problem.
Clean air, quality sound, on the move. Air purification inside a set of headphones.
Yeah, air purification inside a set of headphones.
I thought it was like for hanging drywall or working in a wood shop or something. Like that would make sense.
I guess.
I mean, you can just wear headphones with your mask.
Well, yeah, if you're using machinery, it makes a lot of noise. You want to cut down the decibels. But that'd be more like just ear protection and a mask.
Yeah.
How much would you pay for something like this is really the question. Bud, how much do you think a pair of air purifying headphones would be?
Like from Dyson or in general?
From Dyson.
From Dyson, I don't know, $300-$400.
Yeah, $949.
God.
What? Oh my goodness. The Dyson Zone is equipped with 11 microphones, 8 of which are used by the device's advanced noise canceling system. Dyson claims that these microphones can monitor surrounding sounds 384,000 times a second, reducing background noise by up to 38 decibels. 2 of the remaining mics are beforming to suppress noise from the air filtration system that's built in, while a single microphone is actually used to detect voice audio for calls. Essentially, you've got a pair of noise-canceling headphones made by a vacuum cleaner company that you put on your head, and then there's a mask that goes across your face, and inside one of the headphones is a fan, is an air-purifying fan, which I guess pumps pure air into the mouthpiece, nose piece. It's insane. It's like the most unnecessary mashup, and I'm thinking to myself, who is this for? Who is it for? Is it for people over in the Far East, in China? In Japan, they use masks a lot. They have forever. Back when SARS was a big deal, you see people every cold and flu season, wearing these masks. But I guess now it's like, you want some noise-canceling headphones? Well, what if this vacuum company made some noise-canceling headphones with an air purifying system and only charged you $949 for them? And so I was trying to think of like worse mashups. And I think I've come up with some that are as bad as the air purifying headphones. How about this? American Standard, you know what kind of company they are? And they're a toilet company. What if they released a toilet office chair combo so you could do business while you do business? Think about all the money and productivity that's wasted by people getting up, going to the bathroom during work. So why don't they just combine the two? It's your toilet office chair combo. Step into my office. How about this one? Presto, a company that makes cookware. How about a 3D salad shooter? Totally unnecessary. Almost as unnecessary as a $1,000 pair of noise-canceling, air-purifying headphones. Unreal. Who would buy this stuff? I'll have more of these coming up in a little bit. More ideas. Unnecessary mashups. Let's get into this Twitter stuff. I believe there might be a new CEO of the social media network. All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Here we are, less than a week until Christmas Day. How are you doing on Christmas shopping? Are you relying on the Postal Service or FedEx or UPS to deliver all your gifts on time? Are you one of those people who gets all your Christmas shopping done like a month in advance? Better yet, there are those people who not only get all their Christmas shopping done, then they've got like extra gifts laying around for people who might pop in and surprise them. Those kind of overachievers, tryhards. I envy you, and I also hate you. 683-0989, 683-0989. I don't think I've bought one Christmas gift yet, and that's, I also have an excuse. I was sequestered. I guess I could have gotten online and done all my Christmas shopping while I was in COVID isolation, but I didn't. You know what? I'll probably end up going to the old bargain hunt, something like that, buying a bunch of crap for people. That's really all it is crap. That's what you're buying for people. It could be like, air purifying headphones. Say if you're a high roller, I still can't believe that's a thing. We'll get more into that, some of the unnecessary mashups of products in a little bit. Also supposed to get very cold. We'll talk more about precautions you should take. And, we joke about it. People say, oh, yeah, it's just going to snow a little bit. It'll be a dusting. But you never know. It could be more snow than you are prepared to handle. So we'll keep an eye on the weather and whatever reports are coming our way. 683-0989, 683-0989. That is the Rick's Powder Coating text line. Looks like Elon Musk is pondering stepping down as CEO of Twitter. I don't think that he was going to be the CEO forever. I think that he acquired Twitter. He was going to mess with it for a little bit, and he 100% intended on turning over the day-to-day operation to someone else. Now, he launched one of his Twitter polls. He has made policy at the company based on Twitter polls, whether it's to unsuspend accounts or whatever it is. He says, Vox Populi, Vox Dei, the people have spoken, so to speak. Well, now we've got this. This is from Fox Business. Elon Musk Twitter poll. Users say he should step down as CEO. Elon Musk said he would abide by the results of a Twitter poll asking users if he should step down as head of the company. Musk shared a poll to his Twitter account on Sunday night asking his followers if he should leave his position as head of the social media platform. Should I step down as head of Twitter? I will abide by the results of this poll, Musk wrote. The poll concluded this morning at 6:20 a.m. Eastern Time, with most respondents favoring him stepping down. More than 17 million people voted in the poll. Not sure how scientific that is. I mean, first of all, you got to think about people who follow Elon Musk, people who saw the poll. It's probably all the users, given his stature, but also bots. There are still a lot of bots on Twitter. I think they've tried to cut down on how many automated accounts there are, but this might also have been a bot trap. All right. Or, he says this, he makes this into a poll to kind of drive, people to the platform, but he already has somebody picked out. Now, a few moments ago, Bud, the producer, you got news that you told me. It sounded like you said John Krasinski has been appointed the CEO of Twitter. And I was like, well, hold on a second. John Krasinski, that's Jim from The Office. There's no way the actor, John Krasinski, is going to be the CEO of Twitter.
No, I got this. This is a great lesson in pay attention. You know, I was doing my Twitter scrolling as I do, looking for stuff for the Twitterverse, and I came across it said he named a new CEO. I'm like, oh, how about that? And I just kind of set it aside and kept scrolling. I mentioned it to you at the break, and you're like, what are you talking about? So I sent you the tweet, and I'm such a moron, man.
And just so you know, Bud forwarded me a tweet that he saw that I guess you believe to be somewhat legit. You know, you did, in fairness to you, say that I should vet it before I went on air.
I wasn't
with
just going to run with it. I sent it to you, but I didn't read it very thoroughly.
No, you did not. You should have read that one out loud.
I really should have.
All right,
and paid attention to the photo.
This tweet, the breaking news that old Bud sends me. The tweet reads as follows: breaking info: Elon Musk appoints free thinker Theodore John Kaczynski as new CEO of Twitter and says he'll know what needs to be done. Well, Theodore John Kaczynski, a.k.a. Ted Kaczynski, a.k.a. the Unabomber. The Unabomber is not going to be the CEO.
I was properly trolled.
Twitter.
Pay attention,
yes,
folks.
Yes, you were. You without thinking. All right, so according to the final results of Elon Musk's poll, 57.5% of respondents support his stepping down, while 42.5% believe he should remain Twitter's chief executive. As the saying goes, be careful what you wish for, you might get it, Musk wrote in a tweet Sunday night, shortly before posting the poll. Musk said he will abide by the results of the poll, so is he expected to step down in the future if he can find a replacement that he deems suitable to handle the job. No one wants the job who can actually keep Twitter alive. There is no successor, Musk wrote on Twitter in response to a user's suggestion he had already selected a replacement. And while Musk would resign as Twitter CEO, he will still have ownership of the social media giant. In response to the poll, MySpace co-founder Tom Anderson said his support hinges on who Musk's successor would be. He says, depends on who you get to run it. So if you were wondering where Tom from MySpace was, he's just lurking on Twitter. And I guess he's a fan of Elon Musk. This poll comes after Twitter announced on Sunday a controversial policy prohibiting users from promoting their accounts for other social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, and Truth Social. The policy and the Twitter thread announcing the rule were swiftly deleted following intense backlash from users on the platform. So, look, it appears that Elon Musk is just tossing stuff out there and seeing what people think. Probably not the best way to run a company that's already in trouble. Now, I do want to know if you have any ideas, who would be a good CEO for Twitter? I mean, it's a unique job for sure. It's something that I wouldn't want to do. I mean, Elon Musk, this was a guy who people largely admired before, and now, he has made about half the people upset. I mean, there's some people who love what he's doing at Twitter. I like what he's doing at Twitter overall. What I don't like about it is that the entire platform has become self-reflexive. It's just people on Twitter tweeting about Twitter. That's all it is. Now imagine if you tune in to the Nation of Jake each day here on NewsTalk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis, and all I talked about was radio, or all I talked about was the radio station, or all I talked about was producing the radio show. That wouldn't make for good radio. I mean, imagine watching TV, turning on a television program, and every program is about TV. That's what Twitter is kind of turned into now. And I'm sure that you can avoid it if you really tried. But when you've got, the play-by-play of last week, by the way, they're calling that the Thursday Night Massacre, what happened on Twitter last week, with, half a dozen, maybe 8 to 10 journalists who were suspended for doxing Elon Musk, because that was the big saga last week, was the whole Elon jet flight tracking information. 6 to 8, maybe 10, depending on, how Wanda Halbert counts these things, were suspended, just not even permanently. And if you go on Wikipedia, they're calling that the Thursday Night Massacre. That's how much the media thinks of themselves, thinking that a few of their own get suspended from Twitter, that it's some sort of injustice. It's not just an injustice, it's a massacre, right? So look, with Twitter, I'm losing interest in the platform, but Elon Musk seems to be like, the the number one character on the platform at all times. So, I'd much rather something actually happen with these Twitter files, because that's really where the news is. I mean, even though it's like at breakneck speed, the news cycle, that people just kind of read it and forget about it. I mean, what are we on? Twitter Files 7 now? So, it was just released, I guess, Dr. Michael Schellenberger. He is outlining, and we'll get into more of the details. He's outlining not just how the FBI, as it was released over the weekend, the FBI kind of had a outsized influence in Twitter and a lot of their practices of suspending accounts, going after accounts, monitoring accounts. They called it like a master canine relationship, that it was almost as if Twitter was a subsidiary of the FBI. These new Twitter files that just dropped today, they outline how the FBI gaslit everybody on this Hunter Biden laptop. From what I understand, the FBI knew about the laptop a year before the New York Post came out with the story. A year. They knew the laptop was authentic. They knew that a lot of the information on the laptop incriminated not just Hunter Biden, but Joe Biden. 10% for the big guy. And they kept it under wraps. And when the New York Post released it, they got together with folks at Twitter to not just shut it down, but also to make sure that they got the message out there that this is Russian disinformation, this is hacked materials. It was none of the above. So I'm not really sure how you argue that the FBI, using Twitter, using their power of coercion with those folks who were in charge at Twitter, and a lot of FBI agents, lawyers for the FBI, were employed at Twitter. And I think even more are employed over at Facebook. And you had Mark Zuckerberg, who, with Meta or Facebook at the time, he told Joe Rogan on that podcast that the FBI came to him and told him, hey, be on the lookout for this. So it all kind of comes together, when you look at not just the Twitter files, but also other things that have been said. When Jen Psaki from the podium there at the White House press briefing says that we are flagging posts for Twitter and Facebook. I mean, that they will tell you exactly what they're doing if you're smart enough to listen. And so, but instead of just like kind of glossing over. And so there are a lot of people out there who they knew this was going on. They absolutely knew. You knew it. I knew it. But I guess really the question is, with all these Twitter files coming out, is what's going to be done about it, if anything? Which, again, that's the $1 million question. Will anything be done about it? Or will the U.S. government just be focused on January 6th? And we have some updates on that. Looks like the January 6th committee has met for the final time, and they have recommended that charges be brought in against President Donald Trump. But isn't the DOJ already investigating those crimes? I mean, just what was the January 6th committee but a dog and pony show? Was it just, it was for prime time, it was produced up for dramatic effect? Because didn't Merrick Garland, didn't the head of the DOJ, the Attorney General, already appoint Jack Smith, an independent prosecutor or independent investigator or however he's termed, to go ahead and look at criminal charges into Donald Trump? These things have already been done. It's already been done. So we'll get into that also in a little bit. And we'll see what is trending in the Twitterverse that has nothing to do with Elon Musk or the platform itself. There's plenty on there today. All right, 683-0989, 683-0989. Coming up next, I watched Black Adam on HBO Max, so you wouldn't have to. I'm going to give you a very fair and balanced review of Black Adam, but I also want to hear from you. Did you go see Avatar 2? That was tops at the box office. I think that it missed the projections, but it's still #1 movie, obviously. If you saw Avatar 2, I want a review from you, but I'm going to give you a review of Black Adam. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake. All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake. NewsTalk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. Coming up in a little bit, about 15 minutes or so, we will get into some local headlines. I was reading that King Steve Mulroy, the district attorney of Shelby County, I guess he's going to use his Justice Review Unit to investigate the TBI, who investigates officer-involved shootings. That's right. That's right. I guess it's not enough to have the TBI investigate officer-involved shootings. Now, the DA's office wants to investigate the investigation of the officer-involved shootings. We'll get into that coming up in a little bit. Also, we're going to play Name Drop in hour number 3 today. Our prize for Name Drop is going to be some Memphis Tigers hoops tickets. Yeah, the 29th, the Memphis Tigers will be playing at the FedEx Forum. I'll have all the details for you, but that is our prize for Name Drop. So keep it right here in the Nation of Jake. All right, what do we have going on the Rick's Powder Coating text line? Oh, yeah, unnecessary products. Really just unnecessary product mashups. I was telling you earlier that Dyson, the vacuum cleaner company, and they make a hell of a vacuum cleaner. Dyson vacuum cleaners suck. They really do. I've got a couple of them. My wife is really into nice vacuum cleaners. All right, so I've got one of the actual plug-in-the-wall vacuums from Dyson, and then I've got one that's a battery-powered deal, which is a little bit lighter, and I like them both, and so I would buy a vacuum from Dyson, a vacuum company. I'm not so sure I'm going to buy headphones from a vacuum company, but Dyson has decided that they are going to solve two problems at once. They're going to give you noise-canceling headphones that also purify the air around you, which I'm trying to think of a scenario where those two problems are so prevalent that I need a $1,000 pair of headphones with some sort of Darth Vader mask. It's what it looks like. Seriously, the contraption looks like when Luke in Jedi takes off Darth Vader's helmet and he's left there with that harmonica-looking thing on his head. That's what it looks like. So I don't know, but they cost $1,000. So I've got some more of these unnecessary product mashups, and we'll get into those in a little bit. I did over the weekend. I took the time. I saw that Black Adam, which was supposed to be a blockbuster. What was it going to do? Dwayne the Rock Johnson, who I like generally, he said that this was going to rearrange the hierarchy of the DC extended universe. Like Black Adam was supposed to change the game. October 21st is when it was released, I believe. So about 8 weeks ago or thereabouts, it was released in theaters. I think it's set to lose a bunch of money. Is that right, Bud? Is this a box office flop for Dwayne Johnson?
Supposedly, there's like conflicting stories here, but apparently it had to clear like $600 million, and it didn't. But they're expecting to make that up because of streaming. So I actually don't know. I can look up like the box office and see what it actually hit.
I mean, I think overall you had a lot of people who wanted to go see it because it was Dwayne the Rock Johnson. He's a huge superstar. Black Adam, not as big a name as, say, Superman or even the Green Lantern or Aquaman or any of the Justice League. Of course, Batman and Superman are the headliners in the DC universe, but they started mining some of the secondary and tertiary characters for a lot of these movies.
$390 million worldwide was its take. And
but how much did it cost to make? That's the thing.
What's the budget here?
The budget's probably $390 million. Probably just broke even.
And then they don't include marketing in that number.
Oh, either way, I mean, it's got the math, the calculus that they do on how much a movie it costs versus how much it needs to make to break even. I know this, like Avatar, for instance, they have to make $2 billion globally just to break even, and that will determine if they go forward with any more movies that have not yet been shot. So, from what I understand,
$195 million. Sorry to interrupt you. $195 million was the budget for Black Adam, but that again doesn't take into account marketing.
Correct. So there's a lot of questions as to if this movie was a flop or a moderate hit. I'm going to tell you, I watched it, and it was bad. It was a bad movie. It wasn't as bad as Morbius was, but Black Adam was it was boring. It was like, come on, man. You've got all these superheroes. They all kind of seem like the Sam's Choice Cola of superheroes. And I know that I probably step on some people's toes. If you're a DC Comics person, you're probably going to say, Dr. Fate's been around way longer than Doctor Strange. It's like, well, you know what? The Doctor Strange movies came out before this Pierce Brosnan character, Dr. Fate, was in Black Adam. And just so you know, And there's a character named Dr. Fate, played by Pierce Brosnan. And, Bud, you watched the movie, too. It seemed like just like a ripoff of Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I gave it 5.5 out of 10, and that 0.5 is because Pierce Brosnan was pretty good in it. I haven't seen him in something for a long time, so he looked like he was having a good time.
And Pierce Brosnan's an all right dude, but, watching him as Dr. Fate after Doctor Strange has come out and has been established on the silver screen, it just seemed like real like knockoff discount Avengers. And so when I watched it, that's all I could think about. I was like, this guy's got the same powers. He can look ahead in the future. He can make like mirror protection, and he's got like this cool smooth goatee. So yeah, I kind of dozed in the middle third of the movie.
The cheap knockoff you get your kid because the Doctor Strange action figures were too expensive.
Well, yeah, it's the cheap knockoff you get because you don't want to buy name brand Coca-Cola. So you buy Sam's Choice. You buy Dr. Thunder. Or Dr. K, Mr. Pibb, whatever. That's what it came off as. So I wouldn't recommend it. But, if you've got a subscription to HBO Max, you got 2 hours to kill, go ahead and let me know what you think. But, yeah, Black Adam is kind of terrible. All right, coming up, we've got local headlines. Who's going to watch The Watchmen? Well, that's what Steve Mulroy, the DA, that's the question he's asking.
Damn, boy. That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
I've worked in the private sector. They expect results.
The Nation of Jake on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
All right, welcome back to it.
Yes, have some.
Hour number 2 of the Nation of Jake. News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. In a little bit, we will see what is trending in the Twitterverse. Also, we will look into what the January 6th panel has referred to the DOJ criminal referral against Donald Trump for his part of the January 6th riot. Some would call it an insurrection. I'm not so sure. I think it was a Capitol riot. Got out of hand. I think that making a case against Donald Trump will be very difficult for the DOJ, but that's what this January 6th committee was all about. It was an attempt to convince the masses that Donald Trump was a bad, evil man and cannot serve as president. At least that's what Liz Cheney would have you believe. We'll look into it. We'll see what their findings concluded here in a little bit. Also, we got Name Drop coming up in about an hour. I've got some Memphis Tiger basketball tickets. They'll be back at the FedEx Forum on December 29th. So if you want to go check out the Tigers live, very exciting team. Big game. Bud, you worked the game on Saturday, right, against Texas A&M?
Yeah, I did.
That was a marathon of a game. The referees were a little bit suspect. It just took forever to play.
I don't think they played a whole minute straight. They stopped the clock like every 20 seconds.
Yeah. So that was kind of a slog to get through, but the Tigers did win, so things are looking pretty good for Penny's squad. So Name Drop, I've got some Tigers tickets if that's something that interests you. 683-0989, 683-0989. I've got more of these unnecessary mashups of products. Dyson is making these noise-canceling, air-purifying headphones, which they're a vacuum cleaner company. Why are they making headphones? I've got some more examples of completely unnecessary products coming your way, and I want to hear from you. 683-0989. Did you go see Avatar 2? Somebody did. It made $134 million. I know that Hunter was on his way on Friday as the show was ongoing. I want to hear your review of Avatar 2, The Way of Water. Maybe convince me it's a movie I need to go see, because right now I'm unconvinced. I'm not going to go see it. So, headlines. Headlines from around Memphis in the Mid-South. The number one story, I guess, is really the weather. I mean, it's cold now. It's about 45 degrees and cloudy. So it's not warm out, but it's just going to get colder and colder, single digits by Thursday. And they're talking about the potential of snow. Hey, Bud, what do you say we do like a polar bear plunge? Like day after Christmas or something. We'll go to my sister's house. She's got a pool, and I don't think they cover it. You want to do like a polar bear plunge?
Not particularly. I won't be in town anyway.
Do they have that going on? Are they doing any polar bear plunges around here? That's invigorating, I hear. Dan Bongino does it. Dan Bongino jumps into an ice-cold pool every morning. That's how he gets going. Maybe I need to do that. We'll see. Well, maybe I can convince Bud to do a polar bear plunge. Here we go. First up, we've got this Justice Review Unit. This is a panel put together by the DA, Steve Mulroy, who we call the king around here. Good old King Steve Mulroy. I guess there's been an uptick of officer-involved shootings. So here from WMC's Stephanie Douglas, in the wake of Friday night's shooting involving another Memphis police officer, Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy is seeking additional outside assistance to slow the troubling trend. Because of the spike, DA Steve Mulroy is considering utilizing the newly created Justice Review Unit to handle these cases. Although I think that the TBI is the body that investigates officer-involved shootings. There have been several shootings involving Memphis police officers in the last month. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation is looking into all of them. According to the Memphis Police Department, 4 shootings have occurred in the past month involving Memphis police officers. To date this year, there have been 6, of which 5 have been fatal shootings. Now, DA Steve Mulroy is using the Justice Review Unit, a new group formed to identify and address wrongful convictions and sentences within the DA's office to investigate the TBI's findings. The unit will report directly to King Steve Mulroy and will be led by 2 veteran attorneys who will carry on the caseload. I guess once the TBI wraps up its findings, they will then turn it over to the Justice Review Unit to make sure the TBI did their jobs. So, look, I get, when you've got MPD officers involved in a shooting, you don't necessarily want the MPD to investigate its own guys. Might be a bit of a conflict of interest, and that's why they changed over to the TBI, completing the investigation of the shootings. But now you've got the DA, Steve Mulroy, saying, well, we're going to investigate the TBI's investigation, which this is the same DA who says that they're so spread thin on resources, that they can't hold the hands of victims. Look, we're talking about 6 instances in a year. And yes, you do have to hold law enforcement to account every time that they shoot somebody. And you have to do a thorough investigation. Are we saying, is the DA's office saying that the TBI investigations are insufficient? I guess that's the question. And honestly, man, with all the stories we read about MPD and people crashing cars into MPD officers or Shelby County Sheriff's officers, people shooting at the cops, people trying to fight the cops, it seems like overall, police officers, especially here in a dangerous place like Memphis, Tennessee, that they practice quite a bit of self-control. I mean, it's not often, in the overall scheme, you think about how many crimes are committed, how many offenders are taken in unharmed, and it's most of them, the overwhelming majority of them. Here we are on December 19th, and you're saying there have been 6 officer-involved shootings the entire year? If you break it down by officer interactions, it's a very low number. And again, I get it, but at what point do you say, all right, is it the TBI investigation? Is that sufficient? Because look, if I'm a police officer, I'm looking at it like this. It's not really worth getting into law enforcement, especially not in the Mid-South, if I'm going to be not only investigated by the TBI, but then it's not over. Then this Justice Review Unit, which is a hammer looking for a nail, that they are going to investigate an investigation that I was told was already wrapped up. It's just not going to. If I was a Memphis police officer, I would be looking for a job somewhere else if this is going to be the attitude taken by the DA's office. So, yeah. Look right here. We've got this story. We've got a man arrested after carjacking, kidnapping, and ramming into a sheriff's car, according to the Shelby County Sheriff's Office. A man was kidnapped and robbed on December 16th on Friday, and one suspect was later arrested. Shelby County Sheriff's officers chased Devin Flowers on foot days after the crime and arrested him, according to the affidavit. Shelby County Sheriff's Office says the victim was inside his 2014 Nissan Pathfinder when 2 males approached him on Sandy Park and Shelby Drive. One man had an AR-15. According to the affidavit, the suspect said, "Do not move or I will kill you." Police said one suspect hit the victim in the head with the AR-15, robbed him, and drove the victim around in his car for about 40 minutes. During the time driving around, suspects tried to get the victim to open his phone and Cash App money to them. After he refused, the suspects then hit him on the head and forced him out of the car. Later, 2 days later, on December 18th, Shelby County deputies found the stolen car, the Nissan Pathfinder, with several people in the car at Polo Club on Winchester Road. When deputies approached the car, the driver rammed into the deputies, and everyone inside the Nissan fled. But nobody was shot. Nobody was killed. Shelby County sheriffs handled it. They handled it without incident because overall, that's how these things get handled. Now, there are some times when the police have to discharge their weapons and use deadly force at some times. So now we are going to throw in another layer of investigation after, we've said, okay, look, we see a conflict of interest with MPD investigating their own guys. So let's kick it up to the state level. The TBI gets involved. And now what are we saying? Well, that might not be enough. We need to have a couple of lawyers review that investigation. I would be so out. I'd be like, I'm done. I'm just not going to deal with it. Here we go. This is also some sad news over the weekend. A deadly weekend, by the way, in Memphis in the Mid-South. Christian Salisbury died after being shot on Church Road on Saturday. According to the DeSoto County Sheriff's Department, Salisbury was shot in the leg and abdomen while at a birthday party. The 25-year-old died on the way to the hospital. No one has been charged. Well, they have charged somebody in the shooting. There is a suspect. They say that this happened at a birthday party and that there was a fight. And I guess the suspect and his family are saying that it was self-defense. Now, you may know the name Christian Salisbury. He attended South Haven High School and North Point Christian School, where he was a star athlete. He had just returned to DeSoto County just a few weeks after earning his first taste of professional football as a special teams player for the Edmonton Elks of the Canadian Football League. Terrible story. Awful, in fact. But again, deadly weekend, as seems to be most weekends around here. I don't know if you guys saw, but on Friday, they had a big water main break downtown. Monroe Avenue near Main Street, thing collapsed. It was got something like, you see these sinkholes and stuff in places. Well, it was kind of like that. MLG and W, they tried to repair a recent water main break. The street, filled with office buildings and restaurants, has had a series of water main issues. In October, several businesses were shut down for nearly 2 weeks because of the flooding. During that time, owners had trouble reaching out to MLGW, but we've got Doug. Doug McGowan is in charge now, and as we know, Doug gets things done. MLGW says a contractor damaged one of the water mains while they were doing work at the location. Water was then shut off for several hours as they worked to repair it, but now the water's been restored, but the road is still under construction to get it back to normal. And then also, this is good news. All right, I don't know if you guys been to AutoZone Park lately. I guess really not for baseball, but for, I guess, the old Memphis 901 FC. But it's been a wreck for a while. The video board has fallen apart. There's a lot of the lights are out on the video board. And the turf. Anytime you're using a baseball field for any other sports, whether it's football or whether it's soccer, it's not made for that. It's not built for that. And it has been just abused. But we've got AutoZone Park is getting a new video board and playing field. If you've been down there lately, you know that they've got it all deconstructed. Here we go. We got Craig Unger, the president of the AAA Memphis Redbirds and Memphis 901 FC, said that these renovations on the video board and playing field are being funded about $5 million from Accelerate Memphis, which is putting $200 million towards capital projects across the city over a 3-year period. The 12-year-old video board has outlived its life. So if you've been out there, you know, you've seen it. It's not very vivid. It's got a bunch of pixels out. They're not really pixels. They're like LED lights. It's just old. It's old and it needs to be
too old
replaced. And so they're also going to reconstruct the playing field. And man, it's really fascinating when you look at how these playing fields, especially baseball fields, are built. They have to be built with a lot of infrastructure underneath for drainage. You know, if you've ever seen this being done, It is a marvel of engineering. So they're going to have, I guess, Bermuda grass out there. But honestly, man, as long as they're using it for soccer and baseball, it's going to be replaced often. I mean, if they really care about the playing surface. Remember back in the day when it was Tim McCarver Stadium? How gross was it when they had like the turf infield and the grass outfield? I would hate for them to do that at AutoZone Park. They're not going to, but yeah, they're going to upgrade AutoZone Park, and that's something that they're doing in advance of the big $350 million sports upgrade package that includes AutoZone, perhaps an actual dedicated playing field for soccer over there near the fairgrounds. But yeah, they need to do all of those things. As long as you are using a baseball field for other sports, it is not going to be much of a baseball field. So hopefully they can get AutoZone Park back into shape. Because I remember when they built AutoZone Park, just how it changed really the face of downtown. It felt like being in a different city once they built that park. So I would hate for it just to fall apart like pretty much everything else. 683-0989, 683-0989. Let's take a look at what this January 6th committee has decided as far as criminal referrals on one Donald J. Trump. We'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake. All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. 683-0989, 683-0989. That is the Rick's Powder Coating text line. Anything you got for me? Send it on over, 683-0989. We will see what is trending in the Twitterverse. I know one of the things that is making headlines is that the House January 6th committee voted today to send referrals to the Justice Department recommending former President Donald Trump be criminally prosecuted. The referrals include obstructing an official proceeding of Congress, conspiracy to defraud the federal government, making a false statement, and inciting, assisting, or aiding in an insurrection. All right, so they're going as far as saying it was insurrection. It was expected to be its final meeting today, and I believe is. The House Select Committee to investigate January 6th said it would formally ask the DOJ to pursue charges after nearly an 18-month probe into the former president's involvement in the activities that led to the Capitol breach on January 6th, 2021. The committee said on Monday it believes it has significant evidence that former President Trump intended to disrupt the peaceful transition of power and believes that the DOJ can likely elicit testimony relevant to an investigation under a federal statute that bans rebellion against the U.S. government. I believe we've got Liz Cheney, who I guess is the poster child for the January 6th panel. I think that, it was important for, Nancy Pelosi to have, a couple Republicans on there so it didn't look like it was just Democrats. But honestly, when you've got Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney as your Republicans, they just don't really carry a lot of weight with the Republican base. Here is Liz Cheney in the final January 6th hearing.
No man who would behave that way at that moment in time can ever serve in any position of authority in our nation again. He is unfit for any office. The committee recognizes that our work has only begun. It's only the initial step in addressing President Trump's effort to remain in office illegally. Prosecutors are considering the implications of the conduct that we describe in our report.
There you go. That's Liz Cheney just a little while ago, live on C-SPAN. I mean, I guess my question is, this January 6th committee, nothing that they send over to the DOJ is binding. I mean, it's not like the congressional hearing like this, a panel like this, they don't have any power to bring the charges themselves. So this is just like a strong recommendation. But I think that Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, and the DOJ, they have this underway. This is where I don't really understand the dynamic here. If a crime was committed and there is evidence, the DOJ should bring charges. I mean, that's, I think, what they are trying to do right now. They've appointed a special counsel, this Jack Smith fella, who is going to go through it, and he is going to investigate. And if a crime was committed and there's evidence thereof, it is going to be a criminal indictment of President Trump, right? But the whole January 6th committee, this was all for show. It was all like, say, guys, look at this. This is why you should care about it. But I had honestly forgotten all about the January 6th commission. I thought they were done. Like they just, take time off whenever. At first it was like, oh, prime time. We've got to get this information out here. I think the biggest drama that came out was really the only thing I remember that I recall was this whole, allegations that President Trump tried to grab the steering wheel of the presidential limousine to take control of the vehicle and drive it to the Capitol. Who was, I forget the young lady's name. There was a young lady who worked for Donald Trump who testified that he threw ketchup against a wall and that he tried to grab the wheel of, I don't know if it was the Beast or whatever presidential SUV, and then that all just kind of went away. And so, I don't know. What else do we have here? So he's been referred to the DOJ. The committee said on Monday it believes it has significant evidence that we already got through that. The committee's unprecedented criminal referral holds no official legal weight. Final determination in whether to pursue the charges will be up to Attorney General Merrick Garland and the Justice Department. So yeah, so then they're already taking the steps towards that, are they not? How much money, how much time has been poured into this? To do what? To have a non-binding referral into something that's already underway? Just seems like a big waste of time. But sure, it's all political, and it's going to convince who they can and get people on their side, get people all riled up, and not focus on the important stuff. All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
Nation of Jake, News Talk 98.9, the roar of Memphis, 683-0989, 683-0989. That is the Rick's Powder Coating text line. Yeah. Look, I know a lot of you guys, you don't like the January 6th commission. You're really disinterested in the whole process, and I get that, but that is the number one trending topic and number one story of the news right now, is that they've referred these criminal charges to, and you knew this was going to happen. That's the whole point about this, is that I think generally the people have just kind of lost interest. When you talk to people about, what they care about, what they want Congress to be working on, the January 6th riot is very low on the list. That said, it is worth reporting that's what they're working on. That's what they're still focused on, at least with the last couple of weeks in the House. Now that the House has Republican control coming in January of 2023. So we're going to see a lot more different hearings and panels. You're going to see the Hunter Biden laptop panel. You're going to see all kinds of new things there. And so I'm looking forward to that. That's one of the things I'm looking forward to in the new year. All right. So what else do we have? Oh, hey, Father Time is undefeated, which it's sometimes, you come to terms with that, but sometimes that fact right there slaps you in the face. I will share with you how I got punched in the mouth by Father Time this morning. Also, we've got Name Drop coming up in about half an hour. So keep it right here in the Nation of Jake. 683-0989, the Rick's Powder Coating text line. Let's go with this. Masters of the Twitterverse. These are trending topics. These are viral stories, viral videos. Mostly it's about Twitter in the Twitterverse. Twitter has become all about itself, a very self-reflexive social media platform. I'm going through all the trending topics. As I told you, number one is hashtag January 6th committee. And honestly, that must be, like for real, that must be really the top trending topic right now because everybody's talking about it. Now, is it trending because the higher ups at Twitter are making it so? That's kind of like what Elon Musk has done with Twitter, is he lets things trend that are trending. A trending topic on Twitter should be what most people are tweeting about. It shouldn't be curated. It shouldn't be like, hey, we want this to be the top trending. We want to either, artificially make something, atop the trends or artificially suppress something that's trending. I mean, I don't know how much of that is going on right now in Elon Musk's Twitter, but you just have to take it for what it is right now. Number one trending topic is January 6th. Also trending earlier was Twitter CEO. And that's because you may or may not have heard, Elon Musk did one of his Twitter polls. He said that, he posed the question in a Twitter poll on yesterday, should I step down as CEO of Twitter? And 57% of those on Twitter who voted in the poll said yes. So he said he will abide by the results of the poll, but there has not yet been a CEO named. I guess he's still looking for that CEO. I wonder who he would seriously consider to be the CEO of Twitter. A lot of people say, hey, wouldn't it be ironic if he appointed Donald Trump to be the CEO of Twitter? Well, I don't know. Donald Trump has Truth Social. He seems to think is doing okay. There's one name that has been floated. I don't know if you saw it or not, but Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law, with whom Elon Musk was seen at the World Cup in Qatar. I guess they were there together with a bunch of Saudi Arabian dudes. So Jared Kushner could be one of them. What about Sam Bankman-Fried? How about SBF? He's looking for a new gig. I guess maybe if he gets out of that Bahamian jail, that could be all right. I was just reading that he's done. He's done in the Bahamas. He's willing to come out, face the music, waive extradition, and that way he can, get to serve in his 115 years stateside.
That didn't take long.
I guess it's a little rough. What's that, bud?
That didn't take long.
Yeah, 5 days? Well, when was he put in the Bahamian prison, the Fox Hills prison? It was like on Tuesday of last. So I guess it was Monday, because he was supposed to testify in front of that House Financial Committee on Tuesday, but instead he was picked up by the Bahamian authorities and he was put in the Fox Hills prison with the maggots and the rats. So apparently he's had enough of all that. He's done. He doesn't want to be fresh fish for all the folks over there, the Bahamian prison. But it says here, this is on Twitter. One of the trending topics is Sam Bankman-Fried. FTX's Bankman-Fried appears to fall asleep during court where he does not agree to extradition. All right. He says he has not fully read the indictment he is facing in the U.S. Let's see. But he appeared to doze off during a hearing in the Bahamas in which he did not agree to being brought stateside. There was speculation that he was ready to face the music. Bankman-Fried had previously been expected to accept an extradition agreement on Monday. The former billionaire is on trial for multiple charges of fraud related to his handling of the FTX cryptocurrency trading market. Bankman-Fried spoke to the judge, Magistrate Shaka Serville, only twice during the hearing. First agreed him and again to confirm he wanted to speak with his U.S. counsel, according to Reuters. Reports say at one point, Bankman-Fried leaned back in his chair and had closed his eyes for an extended period. One of the court officials appears to jostle him awake. So I guess I'm looking for video of that. I kind of want to see him fall asleep. Maybe he didn't have his Adderall. Supposed to have 10 milligrams every 4 hours, which seems like a lot. Maybe without it, he dozes off. So that's what's happening. I wonder, though, let's say he gets out scot-free and he's looking for a way to pay all those people back. Maybe he can do it by being CEO of the Twitter. All right, Bud, what's trending in your timeline, sir?
So all this stuff going on with Twitter, and at the same time, Facebook is over here taking a massive L. So John Carmack just announced his departure from the company. He is probably one of the greatest programmers in the world. He created the original Doom back in the day, and he's behind the Oculus Rift. So he's kind of the main reason a lot of VR has made a lot of strides. And he's leaving, saying the organization has only known inefficiency and that they're operating at maybe half the capacity he would have expected them to by now. So he's taking off. So they just lost probably one of their biggest power players and trying to build this metaverse, which is tanking hard and losing tons of money.
Well, I was thinking that, if he is the VR guy, the VR guru, isn't the whole future of Facebook based on this metaverse?
Right. And they're investing billions into it. They're losing about $1 billion a month. And what they've already put together was there's video games that do it better from 5 years ago. What VR Chat is a game you can get on PC right now that basically does what they're trying to get the metaverse to do, and it's tanking.
I think virtual reality as a whole, it's very niche. It's novelty. Every once in a while it might be fun. It's like laser tag. It's fun every once in a while. There might be some cool applications for it, but it's not something that you want to do every day,
right?
Is it? Or am I just wrong on that with laser tag? Do people like laser tag that much? Or like roller skating? It's like, okay, every once in a while it's fine, but I'm not going to roller skating every weekend. Like,
and the amount of equipment you need and the money you need to invest, and then you can't really do it with anybody else in person. You can't hang out and all have a VR party. It's by yourself in a room with this thing strapped to your face. It's just not as fun as they want or useful as they want it to be.
Yeah, I've never really done any virtual reality, and I've never really been compelled to do so.
Yeah, same.
I mean,
and this is coming from a game nerd.
Well, nobody has ever come to me and said, "Hey, you have to do this. This virtual reality, it is so awesome." It's always just kind of like clunky and goofy. And so
there is some stuff I think is cool. Like you can now, remember I talked about it like a week or two ago, you can now completely tour the pyramids of Egypt. Now you can see all that without having to go to Egypt. So that kind of stuff, again, it's novel and it's kind of cool, but it's not gonna take off the way they want it to.
I mean, the most compelling, I guess, extrasensory kind of experience that I've had, I was in Seattle, and they've got those curved screens where it kind of gives you the sensation of movement. You could probably take like an aerial tour of the pyramids in one of those contraptions, and it just be as cool and but strapping something to my face and looking around being disoriented, I don't know, it just doesn't appeal to me. So I guess really it comes down to this. For Mark Zuckerberg to, I guess, plan the entire future of his company, which he renamed Meta, from Facebook, on VR, it seems like I could have told you that was a bad idea. Maybe I should be the CEO of Twitter. Maybe I can just sit around and crap on people's ideas. That's what CEOs do, right?
I'm seeing a lot of stuff too that the marketplace is dying because it's so inundated with bots and scammers that it's just not attractive for people to try and sell their stuff there anymore.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Yeah, every time you go to the comment section of any kind of news story, it's all a bunch of bots. It's all a bunch of spam, and nobody wants to do that anymore. I think people are starting to wake up a little bit. Hey, did you see the video that Tom Cruise released? I guess he's just decided he was going to thank everybody for supporting his movie Top Gun Maverick this year. And so he thanked everybody while, I guess, giving you an inside look at a stunt that they're doing for the new Mission Impossible movie. Dude jumps out of a helicopter, and he just kind of takes us all through it, just as a thank you to people.
Hey, everyone! Here we are over stunning South Africa, and we're filming Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Parts 1 and 2. And I didn't want the year to end without thanking you all for coming out to the theaters, and thank you for supporting Top Gun Maverick. Hey, here's Chris McCoy, writer, director. Hi, everybody. Hey, thank you. Hey, listen, we really got a room. We got to get this shot. Oh, yeah, we're filming. We got to get this shot. All right, are you coming? Not on your life. Good luck. Okay, we'll see you down there. Whoa.
So he's jumped out of the...
Oh, yeah, thank you for supporting Top Gun Maverick.
He's skydiving and just giving everybody a thank you for seeing this movie. Tom Cruise does awesome stuff. And listen, I know that he's out there, man. I know he's a Scientologist. I know he doesn't live in the real world. He's an ageless wonder. But, man, he just decided, hey, I guess I'll just thank all the fans for the huge turnout for Top Gun Maverick while I jump out of a helicopter. And so, and it's cool because he's got, I guess, a cameraman there with him. And then he just kind of breaks away from the camera and just starts going into free fall. And you never see a chute open. And from what I understand, Tom Cruise is still alive, so he survived it.
He would have been trending for a different reason.
Yeah. Dude, the guy's just got he's got it made. I mean, he's been a movie star for 30 plus years, and he just does whatever he wants. And he's known for doing his own stunts. Most of them, I would say. But it's pretty neat video. I'd check it out. I'll go ahead and I will retweet it there at Nation of Jake on the Twitter if you want to check it out.
And shout out to
what
that
else you got,
cameraman for that shot. Held it on him.
Yeah.
And it was pretty clean the whole time. Jumping out of
pretty
that
amazing.
thing.
Honestly, I was surprised that you were able to hear him.
Right? Didn't they test that in Mythbusters that you just can't hear somebody that close? But
Well, you're in a chopper. You've got the wind. Whatever comms they were using. I mean, he had an earpiece, and he sounded kind of funny because of all that. I mean, it's just wind. You're up there. But he had an earpiece in, and I'm sure that there's some sort of special mic. I don't know. Some people were speculating that was all done in post, which I don't think so. I don't think it could have sounded like that and have been like overdubbed.
You could probably you'd be able to tell it would be like desynced from his. There's no way he could perfectly recreate that. So I think it would be noticeable if that was the case. I think they're just using like really good mics.
Yeah, I mean, every time that I've talked to people who have skydived, they've told me that you can't hear anything up there. So you would have to have some sort of special communication device to do it. And you know that they're, like you pointed out, they're in Hollywood, so they probably got top of the line comms there when they're coordinating these stunts. But pretty impressive stunt just to put out there for everybody, just to thank them for. I mean, why wouldn't you now? I mean, seriously, you've got the social media platforms, you've got the cameras are so ubiquitous now. You got a camera on a phone, you got GoPros, you got all kinds of options for that. But it was pretty cool video from Tom Cruise there if you want to check it out on the old Twitter. Anything else, bud?
Bit of nerdy stuff, but it's kind of important if your kids play Fortnite. The company Epic Games that owns Fortnite, the FTC just hit them with a $520 million fine for deceptive practices. Basically, they, without getting too into the weeds, they designed some of their purchase systems to be really easy to screw up and spend too much money, especially for kids under 13, which is mainly why this fine is being levied against them, is because they were basically deceiving kids to spend money. And what a lot of people are saying about this too is that $520 million is probably almost nothing compared to what they've made off of this, so it's not really going to de-incentivize them to keep doing it. So if your kids play Fortnite, make sure you're very careful about what they're spending money on in the in-game purchases.
Well, that's true with everything, man. I mean, I'm pretty strict as to what my kids can consume online, because you never know. I mean, a lot of kids who want to get on YouTube or wherever, and they get down to a rabbit hole. And so whether it's, something like Fortnite, you don't want them spending all that money on, nonsense. But also, you got to be careful as to, what people will put out there, because there's a lot of content that is disguised as kid-friendly, and it is very much not. I'll walk in sometimes, and my kids will be watching something that they don't even know is inappropriate for them. So I'm always like, hold on a second. You guys can't just cruise YouTube or anything else that's not, approved. And I know that's one of those deals where, you sound like an old man, but no, it's true, man. There's a lot of bad stuff out there. I mean, it used to be where we were just so unsupervised, but now you got to keep an eye out.
I've heard a number of horror stories about, a kid gets a hold of their parents' credit card and spends $500 on nonsense in these microtransactions.
Oh, yeah.
It's outrageous.
Because they don't know.
Yeah.
They have no sense of what a dollar is worth. All right. 683-0989, 683-0989. That is the Rick's Powder Coating text line. They say Father Time is undefeated. And, we just kind of accept that. This morning, Father Time punched me square in the nose. I'll tell you how next, right here in the Nation of Jake. All right, so today...
Yes, have some.
Just 6 days after my birthday is my older of two daughters' birthday. Eva, EK. She's 11 years old today. All right, and then my 8-year-old turns 9 in 2 weeks from now, and then my wife has a birthday. All within like a month. It's a birthday season here at our house. Now, here's one of the pitfalls of social media is the feature, the memories feature on your Facebook. You know how you get on Facebook, it says, you got memories today, and it'll kind of give you what happened on this day. Well, when it's your daughter's birthday, you then see photos and videos of birthdays of years past. And so I have an 11-year-old daughter, and of course, today on my memories, it popped up her third birthday, which to me seemed like a year ago. Insane when you were able to look back every year on these videos, and it doesn't seem like it, man. It does not seem like it. It used to be where if you wanted to go look at photos, there was some box somewhere. And now it's on your phone being shoved in your face that you're getting old.
He's too old.
So I was going through these videos, this one of little Eva when she was just 3, and she's so big now. I mean, she's 11. She has all her own opinions. You know, she's starting to become a young lady. All right, but to me, she'll always be this little girl. She'll always be the one opening her birthday present when she was 3 years old. Happy birthday, Eva.
Thank you.
So her little cute little voice, 3 years old, to me, it was just yesterday, 8 damn years ago. Father time, again, undefeated. It flies by. Yeah. Bud, I saw that today, and I just looked at her little face in that video just going, holy Lord. And here's the thing, man. That was like 3 years old, so she was just at the age where she kind of knew what was going on. When a little kid turns 1, they have no idea what's going on. You know, you invite your friends over for the first birthday and they smash the cake, and it's really just a party for the parents. Second birthday, they probably kind of have a little bit better of an idea. But I remember on her third birthday, she just weeks before, she had picked up this little, I don't know, it was like a little Disney princess kind of like game. And so she was like, I want this. And I'm like, well, your birthday's coming up. And so when her birthday did roll around, I got her that exact gift. And man, she was so appreciative. I mean, did you hear that little kid? She had a little 3-year-old with the thank you. Oh my God. And now she's 11. And here's the thing. She still likes me okay. But it's going to be soon. She'll be 13 and then 14. And then, liking the gifts I get her, it probably won't be as big a slam dunk, is it? No. But for now, she's 11. She still likes me. And that video punches me in the mouth every year when she was just 3. A toy? A toy for me? Daddy, look. And I'm like, yeah, look, I'm the one who bought it, kid. I know what it is. Don't mean to look. Oh, hey, we got to play Name Drop. You want some Tigers tickets? Call me, 901-683-0989.
Jake, where'd you get those boots?
But he's got meat between his ears.
Yeah.
The Nation of Jake on News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis.
All right, welcome to the third shift.
Yes, have some.
Nation of Jake, News Talk 98.9, The Roar of Memphis. Appreciate you being here. 683-0989, 683-0989. That's the Rick's Powder Coating text line. I love some of the little side conversations I get on with the Rick's Powder Coating text line. And you got Paul, who loves some of the bumper music, man. The bumper music rotation is always on point here in the Nation of Jake, thanks to Bud the producer. I guess you had some Run DMC going on earlier, so we've been just going back and forth with the lyrics to You Be Illin'. And again, I like rap music back in the day when it was about, food, when it was all about being late for school and eating dog food. Those were fun times for hip-hop. I'm certain that makes me sound very, very white with an H. All right, 683-0989. In a little bit, we'll dig into this Twitter Files Part 7 that dropped this afternoon. How did the FBI pretty much gaslight everybody into thinking that the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation? We've also got some breaking local news here. A man who's been arrested for a train heist. We'll get into that as well. And maybe I'll get back into this unnecessary mashups. You've got Dyson is releasing a set of headphones that is also an air purifier. Air purifying headphones. It makes no sense, but I've got some other unnecessary inventions, mashups, forays into product development from companies. We'll get into that as well. Right now, it is time to play a game.
Shall we play a game?
What's your name, dude?
Nation of Jake's 4 o'clock name drop.
Drop!
On News Talk 98.9.
Say it!
And it's time to play Name Drop. We do this every day about this time in the Nation of Jake on News Talk 98.9, the Roar of Memphis. I asked you to dial 901-683-0989. Frank did. Frank, welcome to the Nation of Jake. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm well, man. How was your weekend, Frank?
Very good. Very good.
Did you go check out Avatar 2, The Way of the Waters?
I have not.
Neither have I. I'm going to wait till you see it. And if you like it, maybe I'll go see it. That sound good, Frank?
You know.
All right.
I'll let you know.
Frank, have you ever played Name Drop with us?
No, sir.
All right. It's a very simple game. If you know the rules, just bear with me while I explain them to everybody else, okay? I've got an audio clip. This is somebody who was in the news, somebody whose voice you might know. I'm going to play this clip for you, Frank. After the clip, I'll ask you to identify who is speaking in the audio clip. And if you can drop the correct name, you'll be headed to the FedEx Forum on December 29th to see your Memphis Tigers take on South Florida. How's that sound, Frank?
Sounds good.
All right, it's a very simple game. I'm going to play the clip. You drop the name. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Here we go.
I'm concerned about it. I think it is a shame that there has been a spike. I can detail future officer-involved shooting investigations to them so that we can get as an independent and objective a review as possible. They'll look at any body cam video, any dashboard video. They'll review the witness statements. They'll also look at any, forensic evidence, ballistic tests.
All right, Frank, drop that name. He hung up? Frank hung up? Oh, man. I guess Frank didn't know the clip, so he dropped off the line. We lost Frank. Dirk is gone too. Dirk was all ready. So I guess we got an open line for Name Drop right now. It's wide open. If you want to steal this from Frank and Dirk, you can do that. 683-0989, 683-0989. A bit of an easy one today, especially if you have the benefit of listening to it and then calling 683-0989. Who's our contestant right now? Ron. Hey, Ron, welcome.
Welcome, sir. Have Merry Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too, my man. So you have the benefit of having heard the clip, and you are ready to steal this. It's just like picking up a pair of Tiger tickets right off the ground, isn't it?
I'm hoping so.
All right, why don't you drop that name?
Let's go with Steve Mulroy.
Drop! Oh, yeah, King Steve Mulroy. King Steve Mulroy of the DA's office, the DA himself, he has announced that this Justice Review Unit that he's put together to examine cases after the fact, that he's going to utilize them to investigate officer-involved shootings in Memphis. Even though, Ron, the TBI has been tasked with that. So I'm not sure exactly, what the move is here. I know that it's something that the DA's office wants to cut down on, but I'm not so sure. Does the DA's office have the ability to go up behind the TBI? And I guess they could. I mean, what do you think of this maneuver here, Ron?
I'm thinking, like you stated earlier, if I'm working for MPD, I'm updating my resume.
Really? Yeah. I mean, I think that is it too, man. MPD right now, I think I just read that they're losing 170 officers this year due to retirements and just attrition. And they've been able to, I guess, recruit and hire 76 out of the academy. At that pace, it's going to be very difficult to get to your 23 or 2,500 police officers your goal to have a fully staffed police force. And maneuvers like this, Ron, they're not going to help things, because like you said, I'm going to update my resume. You already have a situation where you work in a very dangerous city. We talk about it pretty much every day. We could do 3 hours on just crime if we wanted to. I think that would make for a bad radio show, Ron. But honestly, when they say that there have been 4 in the last month officer-involved shootings, 6 this entire year, and here we are in December 19th. With all the stories I read about, Ron, with offenders, people shooting at the police, people trying to fight the police, people driving their cars into the police, I'm surprised that number's not higher. Are you?
I'm in total agreement with you. I think it's weird, different, crazy.
Yeah.
All the above.
Look, I understand completely when the DA, Amy Wyrick, the predecessor to Steve Mulroy, when they made the policy that the TBI is going to investigate all officer-involved shootings within Memphis and Shelby County, I agreed with it. I can totally understand where somebody might feel like it's a conflict of interest for MPD to investigate its own guys for an officer-involved shooting. So I was totally fine with the TBI coming in anytime a police officer was involved in a shooting. But now, for the DA to decide that he is going to go up behind the TBI and investigate their investigation, kind of vet their investigation, it's like, when does it end? If you're a police officer and you put yourself in harm's way, you run towards danger, right? If you are assaulted, if you are engaged in a shooting, the last thing I think a cop wants to do is deal with having shot someone. So for them not only to be investigated, as they should be by the TBI, then investigated again by a DA's office, which is pretty much sending the message that, hey, we don't have resources to hold hands of victims, but they've got resources for this. I'm not going to like it too much, Ron, and I think that, you've gone on record as agreeing with that.
I totally agree with you, sir. It's almost guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah. Just hey, let's just investigate the hell out of these guys. Let's come on behind the TBI, because you know what? It's really, if I'm the TBI, I'm not going to like this either. So, all right, Ron, you are going to go see the Memphis Tigers December 29th at the FedEx Forum with they're playing South Florida. All right, so we're going to get you all hooked up. I appreciate you being here. Merry Christmas, and we'll talk to you soon.
Back at you, sir. Thank you.
There you go. There's Ron. Ron, the big winner today in name drop. Yeah, so, just the story, in case you missed it. In wake of Friday night's shooting involving another Memphis police officer, Shelby County District Attorney Steve Mulroy is seeking additional outside assistance to slow the troubling trend. I'm not sure how investigating the TBI's investigation in an officer-involved shooting is going to prevent officer-involved shootings. I would imagine the way to prevent officer-involved shootings is to have consequences for people who shoot at officers or who attack police officers, who drive their cars into police officers. How about that? Because of the spike in officer-involved shootings, there have been 6 this year. DA Steve Mulroy is utilizing the newly created Justice Review Unit to handle the cases. TBI will look into them. But then after that, Steve Mulroy is going to have his veteran attorneys, and he will oversee another investigation. And like as you heard in the clip, they're going to look at all the evidence. They're going to look at dash cam and body cam footage and ballistics. And it's like, all right, like, where does it end then? So, yeah, I'm not sure I understand. If you're a DA's office who is stretched thin, and you talk about using your resources in the most efficient and effective ways, how this fits. I mean, because this is just straight up silly. 683-0989, 683-0989. What do you think about this? I'm sure that we've got some folks on the Rick's Powder Coating text line who have an opinion on Steve Mulroy. King Mulroy, the DA, he is going to investigate the investigators, because I'm sure that these attorneys know just as much or more about investigating officer-involved shootings as the TBI. All right, 683-0989. We'll get into that if you want on the Rick's Powder Coating text line. We've also got more on this old Twitter files. Twitter files Part 7 have been released. What do they say about the Hunter Biden laptop and the FBI covering it up, trying to gaslight the American public on the origins of the Hunter Biden laptop? And whatever else we feel like looking at. We'll get a train heist. There's been a man arrested for an old school train heist. So all that is forthcoming. Keep it right here. This is the Nation of Jake.
Yes, have some.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to somebody at the state level. I think we need to get some sort of expert on to talk about the dynamic here. It was announced that King Steve Mulroy, the DA of Shelby County, he wants to employ this Justice Review Unit to investigate future officer-involved shootings in Memphis. And now, look, the officer-involved shooting, years ago, it was established that the TBI, at the state level, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, would investigate any officer-involved shootings. This was, I think it was, it was Darius Stewart. Was that the suspect who got into a fight with a police officer, like a full-on fight? It was on video. The officer, I believe his name was Connor something. And it's all from memory. All right, this was a few years back. And so there was like a full-on fight where this young man was in a vehicle. He was a passenger in a vehicle. He had a felony warrant in another state, I believe for some sexual offense involving children. So he was being cuffed and placed in a squad car when he decided that he was going to fight the police. He was going to fight the officer. And it was a full-on fight. He was on top of the officer, wailing on him, and this officer shot him and killed him. And so there was this was all around the Black Lives Matter Ferguson stuff. That was about the same time as the Michael Brown, Darren Wilson, I believe his name was, in St. Louis or in the Ferguson, Missouri area. So I remember it being a big deal, and I remember when this, I guess you would call this investigation by the TBI came about. It's because there were a lot of questions as to whether or not it was appropriate for the Memphis Police Department to investigate their own officers for officer-involved shootings. And I thought that it was a pretty good solution, is that you've got independent investigators from the TBI are the ones to investigate officer-involved shootings. And I thought that was that. Well, now, you're saying, there's been an uptick. There have been 6 officer-involved shootings this year. There have been 4 in the past month or so. There's also been, an uptick in crime. I mean, crime is also pretty much out of control everywhere. So it would follow that you might have, more officers in the line of duty discharging their weapons involving suspects. But now we've got Steve Mulroy, who has said a lot of things. He says he wants to support law enforcement. He says he wants to make Memphis safer, Memphis and Shelby County. He says that he wants to make a system more fair. But when you look at what he's actually doing, I'm not sure how this does any of it. This Justice Review Unit is going to investigate the TBI investigations of officer-involved shootings. Now, I say I want to bring somebody in, maybe sometime this week, to evaluate this, because I wonder what the state attorney general thinks of a county DA investigating an independent investigation that takes place at the state level by the TBI. I mean, I'm guessing that there's, no problem with reviewing the investigation, but is this the best resource? Is this the best use of those resources? When the DA, talks about, we have limited resources, we can't, hold the hands of victims. We want to make a system that's more fair. Meanwhile, they're over there, allowing themselves to be influenced by, Van Turner and the NAACP with regards to what kind of charges are being brought in certain cases. That doesn't sound like it's more fair to me. Going and using time and resources to investigate an independent investigation already by the TBI, that doesn't seem like a really good use of resources to me. It also sends a real bad message. It sends a message that you do not trust law enforcement at all. And you are the DA. You're the one who is, relying on and working with law enforcement. They're already having enough trouble hiring and retaining police officers in the city of Memphis. This is just going to be yet another reason for an MPD officer just to get the hell out, to take the first job they can to get out of the MPD. The mayor, Jim Strickland, and others have been working to, restore a lot of the benefits that were taken away years ago, and to make it easier, they relaxed the residency requirement, and so they've been making all this headway into recruiting officers and retaining officers, bonuses, officers can take squad cars home, all of those things. It's just like Steve Mulroy, the DA, just like kind of undoing the sweater. It's like they're knitting a sweater and Steve Mulroy's just like kind of undoing it on the other side. At least that's how it looks to me, is that you want to weigh down these officers who, look, I'm all about holding officers accountable. All right, nobody's above the law. If there's an officer who is acting badly, inappropriately, if there's officer misconduct, then yes, definitely want to know about it. But at the same time, you're looking at these officers going, look, these guys are in harm's way. They're getting, run into with cars. They're getting assaulted. They're getting shot at. And so when one of them, uses their weapon in self-defense or to neutralize a threat and keep people safe, what are you saying? Okay, not only are you going to be investigated by the TBI, we're also going to investigate the TBI's investigation of you. So that you are not going to be able to breathe until we're done with you. And so, if I'm in that situation, I'm going to look for a way out. I'm going to look to take any opportunity I can to end my employment with MPD, and I'm going to look for a job elsewhere or just do something else. Just do something else. He wants to look at this as an uptick, does Steve Mulroy, in officer-involved shootings. Well, I don't look at it that way. I look at it as an uptick in the danger of doing the job. I really don't think there are a lot of MPD officers who get up saying, you know what I really want to do today? I want to be involved in a shooting. I mean, I don't know one officer who thinks that way. That I want to go out and I want to shoot somebody. I want to be placed on leave. I want to do a bunch of paperwork. I want to be investigated not just by the TBI, but now by a justice review unit, a couple of lawyers who have never, ever, a lawyer will never run towards danger to help you and to save you. A lawyer will hang out and wait for you to get in trouble so they can then bill you hourly. That's what lawyers do. So look, I was willing to, give Steve Mulroy a fair shot and see if these, different methods make any kind of sense. And look, some do. Look, I have not disagreed with everything that he's done, but something like this, I think it sends the wrong message. And I'd like to see, we're reading this today. I mean, where is C.J. Davis? Where is the chief of police of the city of Memphis? Where is law enforcement? And I'm sure the guys on Rescue 901 on Saturday, John Covington and those fellas will have something to say about this. It seems like just more investigation. You are weighing down these officers who are probably already dealing with having shot somebody. It has to weigh on your conscience. There's probably a lot of second guessing. How could I have handled this differently? So you're going to investigate the investigators. All right, yeah. Not acting like a DA's office that is stretched real thin on resources if this is the kind of stuff you're going to focus on. All right, welcome back.
Yes, have some.
The Nation of Jake, NewsTalk 98.9, the roar of Memphis. 683-0989, 683-0989. I've got some more unnecessary products out there. We talked about the Dyson air purifying headphones, which is, when you say that, you're like, wait, what? Air purifying headphones? How would that even work? Well, apparently Dyson has this product. They're noise-canceling headphones. In one of the ears of the headphones, one of the phones, I guess, has some sort of air purifying fan and filter, and then that will purify the air through some sort of mouth and nose piece. It's just kind of like a goofy helmet that you would wear around. I'm not sure who it's for, but I was thinking about other goofy mashups. Air purifying headphones. What's next? Is Waffle House going to do pedicures? Would you get a pedicure at the Waffle House? No, you wouldn't. It's disgusting. It's stupid. So then why would you get air purifying headphones from a vacuum company? Yeah, whole idea sucks, which is usually good for Dyson. We'll talk about more of that coming up in a little bit. Also, if you saw Avatar 2, I guess nobody saw it. It made $135 million. And nobody saw it. Nobody in the nation of Jake, because I've been asking people, is it worth seeing? Convince me to go see the Avatar movie, and maybe I'll go see it. Maybe you're really big into blue people. All right. 6830989. That is the Rick's powder coating text line. A bunch going on Twitter, as has been the case for months. I mean, since Elon Musk announced that he planned to buy Twitter, he made the bid on it, and then there was a lot of back and forth. There was not a whole lot of due diligence done by Elon Musk. It's almost like he bit off more than he could chew because he way overpaid for it. Twitter has been losing money for years and years. It's on its way to bankruptcy. He spent $44 billion on this website. And since he took over, everything on Twitter is about Twitter. I mean, yesterday he posted a poll asking, should he step down as CEO of Twitter? And 57% of the respondents, some 17 million voters in this poll, said yes, he should step down. So there's a lot of questions as to who will be the new CEO of Twitter if he was serious. I think that there's at least one very well-known celebrity who was making a push for it. Bud, who did you say was in line to maybe take over Twitter?
Oh, yeah. So Snoop Dogg tweeted out, should I run Twitter? And out of 3 million people voting, 81% said yes.
Oh, of course. Of course, people who follow Snoop Dogg, they probably voted for Shizzle. Was that
really
one of the
should have
options?
been an option, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so no, I seriously doubt the old Snoop Dogg, D-O-G-G-Y-D-O-G-G, you see. I doubt he's going to be CEO of Twitter. So Twitter is trending on Twitter, which I think is really goofy, guys. I mean, I've made the analogy before. Imagine listening to a radio show that was all about the ins and outs of radio or the radio station. It would get very old very fast. Just like if you only watch TV shows that were about TV, it wouldn't make any sense. It would get old. Usually you go to the television for content that is unrelated to the pipeline that's bringing you the content. But Twitter has just become so self-reflexive, I'm starting to lose interest. But today, the Twitter Files Volume 7 has dropped. Here we go. What's in Part 7 of the Twitter Files? Let's get into this here. We've got the FBI and DOJ discredited information about Hunter Biden's laptop and business dealings. There was an organized effort by the intelligence community to influence Twitter, according to an independent writer. That independent writer's name is Michael Schellenberger. He released Part 7 of the Twitter Files today, delving into how the FBI and the intelligence community discredited factual information about Hunter Biden's foreign business dealings. Elon Musk had been vocal about being transparent when it comes to Twitter's past and present actions curating content on the platform, including censored content. The Twitter owner has enlisted independent journalists to slowly release evidence of these actions in a series dubbed The Twitter Files. You've got Matt Taibbi has been kind of the ringleader on this whole thing, along with Bari Weiss, who has written for the New York Times. She now has her own Substack. And Michael Schellenberger is kind of like the third man in this whole thing. In Twitter Files number 6, we saw the FBI relentlessly seek to exercise influence over Twitter, including over its content, its users, and its data, Schellenberger wrote, later adding, we have discovered new info that points to an organized effort by the intel community to influence Twitter and other platforms. In Twitter Files number 7, released today, we present evidence pointing to an organized effort by representatives of the intelligence community, the IC, aimed at senior executives at news and social media companies to discredit leaked information about Hunter Biden before and after it was published. The story begins in December 2019 when a Delaware computer store owner named John Paul Mac Isaac, JP, contacts the FBI about a laptop that Hunter Biden left with him on December 9th, 2019. The FBI issues a subpoena for and takes Hunter Biden's laptop. So the FBI had the laptop for a full year, well, almost a full year. What did they say for 2019? And then October 2020 is when the New York Post had the story. It's important to understand that Hunter Biden earned tens of millions of dollars in contracts with foreign businesses, including ones linked to China's government, for which Hunter offered no real work, Schellenberger wrote. During all of 2020, the FBI and other law enforcement agencies repeatedly primed Yoel Roth, who was the head of safety and content for Twitter, to dismiss the reports of Hunter Biden's laptop as a Russian hack and leak operation, he wrote, screenshotting a sworn declaration by Roth discussing years of weekly meetings warning of such an operation happening right before the 2020 election. Schellenberger noted that Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg once said the FBI approached Facebook and also warned of Russian propaganda ahead of the 2022 election. Were the FBI warnings of a Russian hack and leak operation relating to Hunter Biden based on any new intel? No, they weren't, Schellenberger wrote in a tweet sharing comments from FBI agent Elvis Chan. Through our investigations, we did not see any similar competing intrusions to what had happened in 2016, Chan wrote. Schellenberger also noticed that Twitter executives repeatedly indicated there was very little Russian activity on the platform. Schellenberger wrote that Twitter even debunked false claims by journalists of foreign influence on its platform, including polarizing NBC News reporter Ben Collins, who reported white nationalists posing as Antifa called for violence on Twitter. We haven't seen any evidence to support that claim, former Twitter exec Yoel Roth wrote to Chan on June 2nd, 2020. So the back and forth seems to be like the FBI is being very suggestive about what is going on at Twitter. And even the Twitter executives, at first are like, no, we're not seeing a lot of that. Like, yeah, I know that you want it to be there, but there's no there. Oh, but they had the laptop for a year. And then when the New York Post story dropped, I believe it was like 2 hours after the story dropped, that's when this Elvis Chan fella got involved in trying to suppress it. And so the FBI was acting on behalf of the federal government to suppress this story. And therefore, having already having the laptop, knowing that it was legit, that it wasn't hack and leaked by Russians, that it was left at a computer shop in Delaware. And so they had it, and not just like the laptop and all the stuff about Hunter Biden, but all the stuff about Joe Biden. Remember how all this stuff kind of unfolded? Like it all unfolded very quick in October of 2020, before the election. You had the laptop came out. The story from the New York Post was suppressed. Their Twitter account was locked. A lot of people who were sharing the story, their Twitter accounts were locked down. And then there was this guy, Tony Bobulinski, who came out saying, oh, yeah, not only is the laptop real, all the stuff on it's real, and Joe Biden is the one who is implicated as the big guy, 10% for the big guy. And nobody listened to the guy. I guess he was on Tucker's show. He was on Fox News, but that was about the end of it. And then every other mainstream media outlet, the legacy media, the NBCs, the CBS, even some of the cable news, MSNBC and CNN, all of them said it is Russian disinformation. NPR called it Russian disinformation. Jen Psaki, who was on Biden's campaign team at the time, called it Russian disinformation. Everybody towed that line. It was Russian disinformation because that is what the FBI wanted the line to be. So, again, with all these Twitter files, it all comes down to what's anybody going to do about it? That's really it. Like, we can sit there and say that, oh, this is stuff we already knew. And it didn't really take a genius to figure it out that it was a real story and that it would hurt the Biden campaign if it got out. I mean, maybe it was too little too late. I mean, I don't know that if the New York Post story was able to be shared or disseminated on Twitter, that it would have changed anything necessarily. But the very fact that that information was there, it was in the possession of the FBI, and they were doing nothing about it at the time in advance of the election, that is really what you have to look at. I mean, to me, that's the bigger story, is that the FBI had it the whole time, and they weren't going to do anything about it because they're a bunch of partisan hacks. That's really what it comes down to. And there are so many, like in these Twitter files. I'm not going to go, tweet by tweet. If you are really into this, you can do it yourself. Michael Schellenberger, I guess he's Schellenberger MD on Twitter. He has a lot of screenshots, a lot of interaction between this FBI agent, Elvis Chan. What a name that is, by the way. You don't really run into a lot of people named Elvis, who are actually, what was Elvis Presley, Elvis Costello, Elvis Gerbach. Remember Elvis Gerbach? He was a quarterback for the Niners, I think. I think he went to Michigan. That said, you don't really run into a lot of Elvises, so it makes it even goofier. That this FBI agent, Elvis Chan, he was running interference, it appears, for the Biden campaign as a member of the FBI. That's problematic. The very fact that, Twitter Files Part 6 for Matt Taibbi, it illustrated that relationship where the FBI, not only were they in direct contact with Twitter, there were a bunch of former FBI agents and FBI employees working for Twitter. One of them was that lawyer, Jim Baker, who I think got into the first batch of Twitter files, and he essentially, vetted them or maybe deleted some of them before they even came out. But he was also, I think, one of the FBI lawyers who cited the Steele dossier, which was a complete hoax. So it's the rot runs deep within the FBI, it would appear. And also, it really blurs the lines between, private big tech operations and the government. And so when people say, Twitter needs to be about free speech, and that gets scoffed at a lot. People say, no, that's not the spirit of free speech. Free speech does not mean that you're free from consequence, and Twitter's a private company. But when the higher-ups at Twitter, pre-Elon Musk, were in cahoots with the FBI, when there was this, as Matt Taibbi described it, this master canine relationship, you absolutely do get into First Amendment issues. If the government, if their law enforcement arm, the FBI, is suggesting that Twitter take action against certain tweets, whether it's just rando people making jokes, and there was a lot of that, or if it's, censoring the New York Post, that is a clear violation of the role of government. Coercing a private company into curating content on behalf of a political campaign? Are you kidding me? This should be, it's a huge deal and a huge bombshell, but it's not. It's not, because we all say, well, it's what we knew. We knew it already. When we already knew the FBI was corrupt. We knew that going back to, James Comey and all his crew. And then later with Christopher Wray, which, by the way, Christopher Wray was appointed by Donald Trump. So it's not like he actually drained the swamp, so to speak. And that's why I'm kind of over Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump, when he was president, he had a chance to do a lot of the stuff that he claimed needed to be done, but he didn't do enough of it. He didn't do it. The next guy who gets into the White House on the Republican side needs to AFDI. Actually effing do it. Drain the swamp or deep state, whatever you want to call it. It can't just be a slogan. You have to AFDI. You have to actually effing do it. I used to have stickers that said that. Some radio guy made those because everybody always talks about, what we should do is this. Oh, we got these great ideas and nobody ever does it. So yeah, AFDI. I always like that. 683-0989, 683-0989. What's more useless than air purifying headphones? Yeah, Dyson has released, or are going to release, air purifying headphones. They cost $950. I've got some, maybe not quite as, but equally useless product ideas that I want to share with you, and we'll do it next right here in the Nation of Jake. Why would I buy
Yes, have some.
Why would I buy a set of headphones from a vacuum cleaner company? A good question. Dyson is making headphones that also purify the air. They're the most ridiculous product I've ever seen in my life, and they're priced out at $949. You know, I used to think people who would walk around with those Beats by Dre headphones, that they got ripped off, that they were idiots, that they were suckers. If I see one person with these Dyson air purifying headphones on, I don't know. Again, I don't know who the market is. I mean, who is it? Bud, is it you? Are you in? Not for $1,000?
No.
When I get these headphones.
Most I spent was I spent $200 on a set of computer headphones. That was 9 years ago, and they still work. So I think that one paid off.
Well, look, Dyson makes great vacuum cleaners, don't they? Also, Clint had something on the Rick's Powder Coating text line about Dyson, right?
Yeah, he said Dyson also makes the air blade hand dryers in the bathrooms that you stick your hands down in, and it shows how much fat you have on your skin. I can see them making something like that also.
Yeah, look, it blows your hands to where, I don't know, just blows the skin right off your hands, and also blows germs everywhere. Hand dryers in the bathroom, terrible idea. I think that they've actually run tests on just how much bacteria gets blown around by hand dryers. And also, do you know what the last thing you do after you use a hand dryer is in a public bathroom? It's to wipe your hands on your pants, because they never ever do it. They don't do a sufficient job of getting you dry. You're going to wipe your hands on your pants anyway. I prefer the old paper towels. There's the sandpaper paper towels, the brown ones. But yeah, so air purifying headphones for $1,000. Luckily, they will not be available for Christmas, so you won't even be tempted to buy them. But I was trying to think of other useless product mashups. You know, we talked about this American Standard toilet office chair combo. Do business while you do business. You know, think about it. You know, you've got people at the office who are always getting up to go use the bathroom. Why not just sit them on an office chair that doubles as a toilet? I'm sure you have to do a lot of plumbing. I guess it might be cost prohibitive, but air purifying headphones for $1,000, also useless and cost prohibitive. How about the Presto Professionals 3D salad shooter? Yeah, why not? Why not have a salad shooting in 3D? Oh, you say it's already in 3D. Well, why not get a pair of glasses to go with it? 3D salad shooter. How about Waffle House now offering pedicures? Would you go get a pedicure at a Waffle House? I certainly would not. Here's something that kind of sounds at first useless, but Lowell from Wings, Lowell Mather, if you recall the TV show on NBC back in the day, Lowell Mather does a great sales job on this one.
I am the sole East Coast distributor of a honey of a product. It's more than a barbecue. It's more than a car. It's a car-BQ. You stick your food in the barbecue, put it on your car engine, close the hood, and as you drive, your car becomes a little engine that cooks. Oh, brother. No, Roy. I've seen the future, and it's well done.
Man, you know what? I watched that clip. I've been watching Wings a lot, and I think about that idea. I think about putting food on your car engine, or at least adjacent to it, and I think it's not the worst idea in the world. The old barbecue. Bud, do you see any problems with that?
No, they tested that on Mythbusters. They cooked whole Thanksgiving dinner driving from one location to another.
How long did it take? I never saw that episode.
I'm thinking it might actually have been Top Gear.
Okay.
But I saw it on TV, and it worked out.
Yeah, you could generate enough heat over time to cook a meal in the bay of your vehicle. I'm for it. I want to try that out. I want to do that myself. You know, next time I ride to, I don't know, a place, I don't know, far away, 6 hours or so? You think that might be? Because you can have consistent heat over time. I mean, it's not, not going to really sear stuff on your car engine, are you? No, maybe we'll discuss this further later this week. We'll do some digging. Maybe Bud, I'll put you on that. Can you do some?
Yeah, I'll at least track down
research,
that clip.
Yeah, do some research and see what it would take to say, I don't know, cook a pot roast on the engine of your car. Beats the hell out of air purifying headphones, the old barbecue. All right, I'll be back tomorrow at 2. So long, and thanks for all the fish.
If you're thinking of moving, check with Chet. Chet Whitsett has over 30 years experience giving you the competitive edge in today's market. Buying or selling, your home will likely be the largest and most important investment in your lifetime. You want Chet on your side. Chet Whitsett. Cry like real estate. Go to checkwithchet.com.